This is the kind of game that can define the whole season for Kansas City. So listen close. You understand the records. Denver is hot, riding a 7-game win streak and sitting at 8-2, while the Chiefs at 5-4 are at a crossroads where every division game now has outsized importance. That's not hype, it's math. If Kansas City drops this, the path to the division tightens and suddenly you're playing catch-up for the rest of the year. If they win, they stay alive and send a message that they can beat a top defense in a hostile environment. The tone of this matchup is simple. An elite, pressure-first Broncos defense versus a Chiefs offense that needs to be surgical and smart to avoid self-inflicted damage. Denver's defense has been suffocating. Top marks in points allowed, third down stops and red zone resistance. So you can't expect to show up and outscore them in a shootout without flawless execution. On the other hand, Denver's offense has been inconsistent. They lean on the run and on squeezing points late. That means the Chiefs can tilt the game by controlling multiple small things. Win the turnover battle, move the chains on early downs, and avoid the big mistakes that give Denver short fields. For you as the fan, the key takeaway now is urgency. This isn't just another Sunday. It's a neutral ground moment where coaching, poise, and matchup exploitation matter far more than raw talent on paper. Expect the game plan to revolve around quick reads, RPO elements, and designed checkdowns aimed at neutralizing Denver's heat up front, while the defense will try to disguise coverage and force Bo Nix into uncomfortable decision-making moments. Pay attention early to how the Chiefs handle third-down situations and red zone chances. Convert 2 of those, and you're suddenly in a position to grind out a win. Before we dive into the injury report and what changes on both sidelines, quick ask, hit the like button if you want the play-by-play breakdown later and subscribe. We're pushing to 6,000 subs and every click helps this channel grow. Also, drop a one-word vote in the comments right now. Yes, if you think the Chiefs win in Denver, no if you don't, and follow with one short reason why. That poll will help me shape the next chapter as I go into the injury swings and matchup impact. Look, as a Chiefs fan, you and I have seen a lot of dominant Kansas City teams over the years. But what's happening right now feels different. This isn't just a team preparing to defend another title. This is a group quietly building something that the rest of the AFC absolutely does not want to deal with. And the craziest part? Most people outside Kansas City still haven't realized what's coming. The biggest reason the AFC should be terrified is how perfectly this roster is being built around Patrick Mahomes at this phase of his career. Mahomes doesn't need the flashiest weapons or the biggest names. What he needs are guys who fit Andy Reid's system, run disciplined routes, win leverage battles, and create separation on schedule. And the Chiefs have spent the entire offseason stacking exactly those kinds of players. There's a level of efficiency brewing in the offense that we haven't seen since the early days of Mahomes and prime Tyreek Kelce synergy. And while critics are busy yelling about whether the Chiefs have true WR1 talent, they're missing the point entirely. Kansas City has built a room full of matchup-specific weapons. Every guy does something different, and that variety is what makes game planning for the Chiefs an absolute nightmare. But let's flip to the defensive side of the ball, because this is where things get really scary for the AFC. Steve Spagnuolo has more continuity, more athleticism, and more versatility than he's ever had in Kansas City. You already know how dangerous a Spags defense gets when he trusts his secondary, and this is one of the most complete secondaries he's ever coached. Long corners, athletic, safeties, disguised pressures, late rotations, quarterbacks hate facing this style of defense. And the front seven, faster, more aggressive, more depth. It's the kind of defense that plays best with a lead, meaning every time Mahomes puts points on the board, Spags gets to unleash chaos on the opposing offense. That's the formula. That's the fear factor. Let me ask you this, and be honest. Do you think the AFC has caught up to Kansas City? Or do you think Kansas City just widened the gap even more? I want to hear your take in the comments. Before we move on, do me a quick favor. If you enjoy content made specifically for Chiefs fans like you, hit that subscribe button and help us push towards 6,000 subscribers. And like this video so it reaches more members of Chiefs Kingdom. The X's and O's in this one are beautifully simple. Protect Mahomes, neutralize Denver's pass rush, and create mismatches in space. And if the Chiefs win those three things, they win the game. First, protection is priority number one. Whether Josh Simmons is active or Jalen Moore slides in, the left side of the line has to hold up against a front that leads the league in sacks, pressures, and quick pressures. That means quicker reads from Mahomes, more rollout concepts, and schemed help, slides, chip blocks, and slide protections, to buy time for intermediate concepts to develop. Expect to see a deliberate emphasis on quick passing game elements, three-step drops, screens, quick RPOs, and jet sweep edge plays to keep the Broncos from getting comfortable with straight drop-back rushes. Second, use your backfield and tight ends as safety valves and as mismatch creators. Kareem Hunt and Brashard Smith should be featured more in space because Denver has been vulnerable to running backs catching passes, and throwing into RB space forces linebackers to defend in space where the Chiefs can win one-on-one. Noah Gray and Travis Kelce present the classic matchup advantage against linebackers. Move them across the formation, throw rub concepts, and use shallow crossers to distract the middle and open up chunk shots downfield. Third, on defense, it's about disguise and discipline. Spagnuolo will want to hide coverages pre-snap and rotate post-snap to limit deep shots. But the big lever is forcing Bo Nix into predictable reads. That means rush lanes must be maintained. Don't over-pursue on the edges. And when you send pressure, make it timed and purposeful, so Mahomes doesn't have to face the exact same pressure packages he saw against teams that beat him. Containing the QB's mobility matters too. If the Chiefs can corral his scrambles and make him hold the ball on longer developing routes, the pressure-to-sack conversion will work in KC's favor. Special attention should be paid to Denver's communication gaps without Alex Singleton and with their backup corners pressed into service. That creates an opportunity for route scheme snafus, which Mahomes can exploit, with pre-snap motion and run-pass options that stress matchup responsibilities. Also, don't sleep on situational football. Winning early third downs and converting red zone chances, or at least leaving with field goals, is how you keep Denver's offense one-dimensional. Finally, expect in-game adjustments. If Denver's front is getting home early, Reed will pivot to faster releases and misdirection. If the Broncos try to take Rashee Rice away, open it up for Hollywood Brown, Xavier Worthy, or Tyquan Thornton on the perimeter and let them create vertical stress. Quick question for you. Vote in the comments now. Which matchup decides this game? OL versus DL, Mahomes versus pressure, or RBs, tight ends versus LB coverage? Tell me which and one reason why. And before I move to the prediction chapter, hit subscribe to push us towards 6,000 subscribers and like the video, so more Chiefs fans see this breakdown. The truth is, this matchup comes down to whether Kansas City can force Denver to play left-handed, and if you've watched this team for any amount of time, you already know that when the Chiefs dictate the terms, the entire AFC feels it. So let's walk through the game flow that I think unfolds on Sunday. Early on, Denver is going to come out aggressive, trying to test the edges of the Chiefs' offensive line and collapse the pocket from the left side. Expect Mahomes to take the free yards, quick hitters, rhythm passes, motion-based misdirection, and use the Broncos' own speed against them. That's where Reed gets dangerous. Once he identifies how Denver is triggering its linebackers, he'll start packaging looks that mirror run action, but open passing lanes behind the second level. If Kansas City hits even one early explosive, a Hollywood Brown deep shot, a Rashee Rice breaker across the middle, or a Travis Kelce seam off a play-action fake, Denver's defense will have to loosen up, and that's when you'll see Pacheco's physicality come alive in those downhill lanes. Defensively, the Chiefs know exactly what their win condition is. Get to Bo Nix before he gets comfortable. They don't need constant sacks, they need constant doubt. Rotating coverages pre-snap, showing single high before spinning to too high, or baiting the throw to the outside where McDuffie can break on the ball. It's all about forcing Nix into half-field reads and limiting his timing windows. And if Kansas City gets even an average pass rush performance early, Nix's internal clock is going to start speeding up. That's where the Chiefs flip the momentum. Add in the fact that Denver's offensive line has struggled to protect consistently against exotic pressures, and the path becomes clear. Kansas City creates chaos and then cashes in with field position swings. Special teams also matter here. Dave Tubb has been drilling situational discipline. And one hidden yardage moment, whether it's a pin at the 4-yard line or a long return, can tilt the middle quarter of the game. So when you add it all together, offensive efficiency, matchup advantages in space, defensive unpredictability, and a coaching edge that consistently shows up in divisional games, you start to see the gap forming. Before I lock in the score prediction in the next chapter, I want your take. Should the Chiefs lean more on the quick game early or try to hit Denver deep right away? Drop your vote in the comments. Quick game first or take the shot. And while you're here, do your part for the channel. Subscribe to help us hit 6,000 supporters and like this video so more Chiefs fans get the breakdown they deserve. When you stack everything up, coaching, quarterback play, situational execution, depth, consistency, and the simple fact that Kansas City has a far more stable identity than Denver, the picture becomes pretty hard to ignore. This is the type of divisional game where the Chiefs don't need perfection. They just need to play their brand of football for 4 quarters. That starts with Mahomes dictating pace, forcing Denver into unfavorable personnel groupings, and using pre-snap movement to expose tells in the Broncos' coverage shells. If the Broncos overcommit to stopping Rashee Rice, the Chiefs can pivot immediately to Hollywood Brown and Xavier Worthy on speed-based concepts that stress the deep third. If Denver tries to play with wider splits up front to crash the pocket, Reed simply shifts into run-attached RPOs that punish that spacing. The real key, though, is how Kansas City sustains drives when things get a little messy, because they always do in AFC West matchups. That's where Pacheco's toughness changes everything. Even a couple of drives where he churns out tough yards on second down, keep the Chiefs on schedule, and let Mahomes maintain full control of the playbook. On the defensive side, Spagnuolo's group knows exactly what they have to do. Keep Bo Nix uncomfortable, protect the middle of the field, and rally to the football on anything underneath. Denver will try to manufacture rhythm throws early, but if Kansas City tackles cleanly and forces third and medium situations, the Chiefs' pass rush is going to get home often enough to alter the outcome. And once you force a rookie quarterback to chase points on the road in Arrowhead, the advantage becomes overwhelming. So here's the prediction. Kansas City starts fast, survives Denver's adjustment push in the second quarter, and then pulls away late behind a couple of critical defensive stops, and a long clock-draining drive engineered by Mahomes and Pacheco. I'm calling it Chiefs 27, Broncos 17. A game that feels competitive for stretches, but one where Kansas City maintains control throughout, and reminds the AFC that the road to the conference crown still runs through Arrowhead. Before we close this out, let me know in the comments whether you think the Chiefs win by 1 score or 2 scores. Your vote helps shape our community predictions before kickoff. And as always, if you enjoy these breakdowns and want more straight-to-the-point Chiefs coverage with zero fluff, Subscribe today and help push this channel towards 6,000 supporters. Then hit like so more fans find Total Chiefs news.